కొంచెం కట్నే అమ్మా కట్నే అవతల కట్నే Very good morning, all of you. Is it audible?
Sir, it's audible, sir. Please carry on, sir.
Good morning, all of you. Welcome to the IET Hyderabad Center Knowledge Sharing Scheme, webinar number 2. Now, today is the webinar number 2 we are conducting. I request our chairman, K. Gyaneshwara Garu, to give the welcome address.
Very good morning to all the participants. I, K. Gyaneshwara Rao, Chairperson, welcome you all to this webinar on IoT, its evolution, objectives, and implementation. You all know that IET is a non-profit institution which conducts various courses in electronics and computer science engineering, seminars, workshops, etc. We have introduced this webinar series to share the knowledge of experts and eminent personalities among the professionals, teachers, and students. IET Hyderabad Center has started this webinar series last week on 26 July 2020 and found it a grand success with more than 300 participants registrations. I thank all the participants for the interest shown in attending and interacting with the speaker in the Q&A session. Encouraged by the success of the previous webinar, IET Hyderabad Center has decided to continue this webinar series on a regular basis. We feel great to mention that this program is free of cost and e-certificates will be given to all the participants. I am happy to mention that Professor C.R. Sharma, who is also a honorary treasurer of Hyderabad IET Hyderabad Center, is the speaker of today's webinar. I thank Professor C.R. Sharma for presenting this webinar. I am sure that all the participants will find this webinar very useful and interesting. Please feel free to clarify your doubts after the presentation and give your feedback and comments for further improvement of this webinar series. Once again, I thank you all and have a great day. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Just I want to give the brief introduction about the IET Hyderabad Center, those who are particularly for the newcomers. So IET Hyderabad Center is the second largest center in the country, which is established in the year 1973 among 65 centers in all over India and abroad. So currently the corporate strength of IET Hyderabad Center is around 2,400 members, and also we have 86 student forums, that is ISF chapters, and also we have 15 organizational members from our Hyderabad Center. And Gulbarga is one of the active sub-center, and Hitam is one of the PAC, there is a professional activity center under Hyderabad Center. Hyderabad Center has been adjudged so many times a best local center in India several times because of its regular activities, huge building infrastructure with furnished classrooms, well-equipped multimedia lab, full equipped electronics and computer labs, huge library, more than 10,000 volume of books, and high-end latest audio-visual and auditoriums with a seating capacity more than 300 capacity. And we are conducting the various courses, ALCSS and AMIT, etc. Though we are the new team under the chairmanship of Gyaneshwara Rao and myself, I am Namasivaya, secretary, and of course today's speaker C.R. Sharma, treasurer, and other executive members. We are taking all the charge in the July, and immediately we started this webinar series, regular webinar series on Sunday with all your cooperation. And in that series, it is the second webinar we are conducting this Sunday. So I request today's speaker, introduce today's speaker by Dr. P. Naveen Kumar, our EC member of IET Hyderabad Center. Thank you. Naveen, please. Mr. Devaraj, unmute. Naveen, unmute your microphone, please. Yeah.
Good morning, everyone. It's my pleasure and honor to read the profile of Professor C.R. Sharma, who is the Honorable Treasurer of IET. So he has graduated from the Madras Institute of Technology in Electronics Engineering in the year 1973. He is a professor of ECE in Embedded Systems and IoT. Currently, research and development of virtual passenger, telemedicine kizok, and genetic hepatitic gadgets. Currently, work with WILP, BITS Pilani, data science and engineering for corporate sectors. He has got 2 invention awards and 2 patents. He has published 4 national papers, 2 international papers. He is also author of many books, that is computer networks, embedded systems, and so on. He has also conducted several workshops for teachers in IICT, IST, STTP funded programs, and many other corporate training programs in IoT and embedded systems. He also operates on amateur radio bands 144 megahertz and 7 megahertz bands, call sign is BU3 CRX. He loves to develop hardware and software skills for IoT embedded systems applications. He has got over 2 decades of industry and R&D and a quarterly century in academics. He is a senior member of IEEE, he is a fellow of IETE, and his first job is from Sri Siddheshwara Electronic Equipment as Chief R&D in 1975, and he worked there for about 20 years. He practices astronomy and guitar, and pastime is creating innovative gadgets. He has also got a personal website that is crsharma.com, and more information can be obtained from this. So thank you very much for giving the opportunity.
Thank you, Mr. Naveen, for your introduction of the speaker. So I request our treasurer as well as the today's chief guest and speaker, Professor C.R. Sharma, hand over the mic.
Good morning, everybody, and happy Friendship Day. And thank you, Secretary Namasima Garu, for handing over the speaking. Thank you, Chairman Gyaneshwar Garu, and of course, other members. So I will start presenting my screen right now. Just give me a moment. I hope I'm audible to all of you.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So it's a pretty hot topic and almost like a buzzword. So instead of buzzing about it, I will quickly buzz through it. The topic is pretty wide. That is, I'm almost covering end to end for people to for people who would like to work with it, can also try using it. And
Sir C.R. Sharma Garu, please switch off the annotations screen.
I need to annotate.
There's so many.
Oh, that's not done by me.
Okay.
That's not done by me. This is what is done by me. I have not got annotation here.
You can disable, sir, annotation, sir.
Oh.
In your options, sir, please. Devra, sir, speaking.
Yeah, I can hear that. Where in the lower side is it? Oh, and show. Screen sharing, annotations. Yeah, annotate. Okay, here. Now draw. Disable. What is disable here? Clear. I'm clearing it first. Then, where is the disable here?
In more options, there will be a disable participants annotations option will be there, sir. Please look into that. There will be an option more beside of share screen and then recording, and there you will have an option more.
Yeah.
Click on that option.
Yeah, stop recording meeting. Show names of annotations. Disable participants annotation.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
please.
I disabled it.
Yes, sir.
Disabled it, but I should also clear it. I suppose erase. Yeah, now it's erased. All right, so I'll start. Oh my gosh, I am annotating. How do I disable? Clear. How do we annotate? I mean, disable annotations.
Sir, now you can share. Now you can share your screen.
All right, I'll do that. Thank you very much. So, first thing is, how did the concept of IoT start off? IoT was always there. I mean, the only thing is, there was no, IoT was, the word was always there, but the question is, the formulation was done by one gentleman called Kevin Ashton. Kevin Ashton was working as a co-founder, was working as a computer science person at Procter & Gamble's, which is actually a company which makes a lot of chemical products. So there, these people had a lot of inventory, and he used to look after the inventory. So there, the thought came in that why should an inventory of a particular item, only after it has come to a minimum order quantity, then only the action should take place. So can't it be possible that it can be automatically updated and the information could be sent to the one who is going to supply the item which is falling short? So this guy, Kevin Ashton, he proposed, and with MIT Massachusetts, he has started coining the word of Internet of Things. And it was in the year 1999, and it took form only when the internet became very powerful and lots of devices were able to be made. The purpose is this, that human beings have a lot of things in their mind. They would like to do a lot of work, and while doing it, they may forget certain things. I'll take my own example. In my own example, when I want to send an email to somebody, I open my laptop and when I see a lot of things which are already there, like my Facebook, like I got the other mails from other people, then I have got my interest in another Twitter account. When I see all that, I will get into the Internet of Things, I mean, get into working with other things like Facebook, etc., and finally end up sending my mail after I've spent 1 hour with my machine. What could have been done in a minute? Therefore, human beings have a tendency to keep missing out on certain points, and they'll come back later, but there are delays, and then they may even forget it. So in that case, what is to be done is, why don't we try teaching the things to behave properly and support human beings in this aspect. So that is where the concept of Internet of Things was applied when the devices became very much proliferant and they were available for people. So first thing we got to keep in mind is, there are two topics, two things to think of. One is called homeostasis. Homeostasis is the meaning which means that whatever is evident in the environment, we'll be able to sense the environment and act accordingly. It's like our human body. When I'm feeling very hot here, then I know that I got to turn on the fan. So that is what most of the biological organisms have got a tendency to maintain a homeostasis. That is how to feel around the environment and update the central mechanism to help us in making an environment much better. So the internal environment constantly being monitored, and the behavioral changes of the environment should be reflected back as a feedback. So the same thing has been applied in Internet of Things, where what we do is, just 1 minute, I think. So here we have to refine our devices to work in a particular order, and we should empower the device to do a certain part of our job. And certainly, the next thing is to monitor our environment and make sure that we are globally or locally able to update and control our environment. So this is the principle. So here we have, number one, we have to make the thing. The thing is the one which looks after the asset. So what we basically need is an instrument with a sensor. So the thing is going to sense the environment, and that's what the homeostasis comes into picture. Then acquire the data. So we need analog to digital converters for analog inputs, and for sensing the digital inputs and controlling the outputs using digital I/O. then we need a processing module. So there should be the power of a computer in this device. So that power of a computer can be possible only when we have a computer built in. And that's where a microcontroller comes in. Finally, the communication. If we really want to have communication, then we got to have a communication module. This communication module is called a radio modem. Usually radio modems are where the word was used earlier, but nowadays most of the microcontrollers are coming with Wi-Fi enabled modules in them, and so the radio modem is not separately treated. Okay, so next what I would like to talk about is the various interfaces which are required. All these interfaces which are present here, like for instance, the acceleration and tilt, you've got the electric and magnetic fields, the levels, maybe sound levels or levels of whatever is the environmental illumination. And if the machine and if the equipment has fallen down, the force sensing, the flow of liquids, the presence of gases, acoustic, sound vibration, humidity and moisture, temperature, and finally we have, there's no finality to it. We have a motion and velocity displacement, plus the beauty is we have position and presence and proximity sensing. If we go through it a little carefully, we'll understand that all these are, most of these, at least 80% of these are available in our mobile phones. So we probably need not throw away our mobile phones. If we are able to program our mobile phones, we can make a Internet of Things device. Okay, next. How do I make it go to the, oh yeah, I can press here, right, got it. Actually, most of my classes, I do it in Google Meet or in Impartus. So I'm not familiar with this. So next thing is the objectives of IoT and some study cases, how to go about it. So one of the objectives of study case here is we have a farmer. This is actually a thing which I have taken. I've taken this from a particular thing done in New Jersey by one farmer who put devices in his farm. These are all the devices in the farm. Like for instance, you got these red devices. These red devices are where these smart sensors are. And these smart sensors will be having Wi-Fi capabilities, but they don't have that much power that it can reach out to the central coordinating system. So what is done is you have devices here which are linked up with another device which is called an access point. These are supposed to be the stations which are the edge of the network, and this is supposed to be an access point which will again talk to another access point. These access points actually are like a router. Router in the sense, take the data from the sensor and send it to the nearest available system, nearest available access point. Now these access points again will be having its own the hierarchy of smart sensors, these red ones. So like this, it will be coming out. The power of the smart sensor is not going to be so huge that it will be able to receive at this point. So what is done is these access points will work in a cooperative manner and transmit it to the central node. And here this is called a central coordinator, where all these access points which have acquired data from the sensors here will be presented to this, and this will get in turn connected to the internet. Now, actually, when we get to the internet, we have other issues, like for instance, security issues. But in this particular field, where it is made totally local, in the sense it is organized by individually, and this particular coordinator will be the one which will have the necessary devices to prevent any unauthorized access to these points. So this is where the internet is connected, and therefore you got the wireless radiations here. Okay, so I go on to the next one. Next, I have one of my friends. We had presented something on IoT and big data. My job was on IoT and his job was on big data. He had worked on a particular sensors called something to measure pressure. Measure the pressure in a area. So what we thought was to fabricate a bed where we have sensors. For instance, I have a sensor here. Oh, sorry. I have a sensor here. So this is a sensor and I have a matrix of sensors. I can put 4 of them and a complete array of sensors here. And this can be put into a bed, a cushion on the bed. And that will be connected with a wireless mode. And we will understand what a wireless mode is after a few slides. Now, this particular thing, I would like to do annotation. What can I do for it? I'll have to go back and, do I have to go back here? Annotation mode. So, can I annotate now? Namaste, sir. Can I?
Sir, you can do annotate, sir.
Yeah, I can do that now. So what I will do is I have a bed here with pressure sensors. Pressure. So all of them will be sensing. This will be a pressure sensor, pressure sensor. So we have a bed for old age home where people will be, old people will be there. So their profile, if they are depending upon what is the pressure applied here, the profile of the person sleeping will be noted, and that will be transmitted to a cloud. This is the cloud, and this cloud is going to be in the old age home. So all these beds which are there in different rooms, all these beds in different rooms will be connected to the cloud. So it will go to this cloud. Another bed here will go to this cloud here. So this cloud will have the data. And after having the data, it will now be analyzing how to go about it. So what is to be done is, I will erase this. I erase this completely. I will redraw it so that we have one bed. So here we have the cloud. Annotate. Where do I get annotate? Draw. Okay. So here I have control key. How do I annotate, Devaya? Oh boy.
Sir, same options. You go to that disable annotation is there, no, sir?
Yeah.
There you can go, sir.
More. Disable animations, yeah. Anyway, I was not pretty much used to this, but
okay.
Okay, I'll explain this verbally by drawing with this, like the cursor. All right.
Okay.
So here, what would be done is, we will have this. All these beds will be reporting the status of the bed. So depending upon the position in which the person has slept overnight, it will be known the profile of that person. But what is more important is whether they have got up or not in the morning. So if they have getting up at the morning at 6 o'clock, then if they have not got up, this cloud will be accessed. All the data will be there. The cloud will analyze the data and talk to the people, trigger the relevant people to respond to a particular bed where the person who is occupying the bed has not got up, or if that bed has not been occupied all night, or if the aged person has rolled off the bed, then that will give an idea, because there will be a change of pressure here. So this is one of the case studies which can be implemented, and there are beds available in the market, not in our market, but in the worldwide, that there are beds like this are presented. So let's get down to the next step. The next step is, how do I disable this annotation? Sorry.
Sir, below there is an option, sir. Please annotate, okay?
This one.
Screen annotate option will be there, sir, below. Click on that.
Okay, fine, it's okay. So now what I will do is, this particular bed, there will be other beds in this, and all of them will have sensors. So this particular thing will be a node, and this node will be connected with a wireless mode, and these wireless nodes are the ones which are going to communicate with the cloud. And for that reason, we call this network of beds is going to be a wireless sensor network. So this is the topic we are now going to understand. And this wireless sensor network is abbreviated as WSN. And let's see what we got in that. What we have got in that is this. We have a network here. Here there's a node, which is a sensor, smart sensor. Now, when we talk about a smart sensor, this particular sensor will be transmitting data here for further communication to the sync node. The sync node is supposed to be the node from where the coordinator takes the picture. So this sync node is the one which is connected to a gateway, which may go to the internet or the core network, whichever is the organization using. But if it's an individual source, it usually will stop here, like what I will demonstrate in the end, where I have implemented one of my own. So here we have the smart sensor, which is also working as an access point. The difference between a smart sensor and access point is a smart sensor, when it is at the edge of a network, it will be called a station. So this particular wireless device will be in a station mode, because that is where the terminal takes place. All the terminations of all the sensors will be here, and these are connected in a mesh. So what happens, all of them are connected together, and they will be going to the sync node. Now individually these nodes don't know their powers. They don't have much power. Okay, what they are knowing, not their power, but they can sense the signal strength. But one more thing is, these nodes don't know where the sync node is. So what is done is, they create a packet and send it to the access point which is nearest to it. The access point will keep on sending it. So finally, it will come down to the sync node in about 10-15 trials, and it does work that way. So here we have the core network, which will get ideas from other sensors also will get into the network. So I will now proceed to seeing how the network is. So here we have a station, one station. So all these are stations. Stations are actually endpoints. This is the cloud, this is the network ending. When we talk about a cloud, we are talking about a group of devices which are put together. We are talking about a group of devices which are put together. So here we have the group of devices which are stationed, all of them, and these will be having access points in between. So these access points will take data from these stations and transmit to the coordinator. The coordinator is going to be connected to the internet. So this is where the internet comes into picture, and this is the wireless sensor network. For instance, that particular aged home I talked about, I have picked up the aged home, but I have also picked up something else later on which will be of interest. But right now, this is the aged home. Then all these will be the beds. These will be the beds and access points. They will be talking to a coordinator and sending the data of the status of the bed. And the coordinator will talk to the gateway, and through the gateway, it will talk to the cloud. And the cloud will take the decision. So that is, first, we got to have a wireless sensor network. And this is what the wireless sensor network is. That is for one set of devices which are working, sensing something. This could be somewhere in Gir Forest. In Gir Forest, if you've got some lions and you want to keep a track of all the lions there, you put an RFID indicator on them and let each tree which is there, let it sense which tiger has come there, and the tree which will be radiating as an access point will send to the central coordinator telling the inventory of all the lions, and if one lion is not active, what is to be done. So this particular area, this entire area, where am I going? I'm sorry. This entire area is the sensor network. So Gir Forest will have a sensor network like this. This is a coordinator where some decisions can be taken, or it could be sent to a geographical society which is taking care of it. Let us now look at the clouds. So here we have a sensor network. This is a sensor network blue, a sensor network peach, a sensor network pink. Now these sensor networks, what we have seen earlier, are already there. Now they will be sending data there to the respective clouds. This network will send data to this cloud A. Now, there are various clouds available which can be used by us. This is one of the things which is available for, the users, thingspeak.com. And this particular thing can be used freely, and you can experiment with it. After you have experimented with it, you can also go to a cloud, which is also called AWS. I think all of us know what AWS is. AWS is Amazon Web Services, and Azure is from Microsoft. I didn't want to put the names here because they're all copyright names, but I can always mention it orally. So here, Azure and AWS can be professional websites which do a lot of web services. They are provide data analysis. Here also data analysis can be done. Now, this cloud can send messages to Twitter. Twitter is only an inter-messaging service. So if there is a requirement for something to be done for this cloud B, blue cloud, then the blue sensor network will send the data, and here an analysis will take place of what is the action to be taken. If the action to be taken is to refer to another cloud for further data, then this is the connection between the clouds. So they will be talking to themselves directly. If they are directly connected, well and good. Otherwise, they can have messaging services. We'll talk about the messaging services later on. So this Twitter.com is one of the messaging services. And there is a possibility that these clouds also can be connected through GSM. GSM is our mobile service. So that is how the clouds are useful to us for analysis of data and for getting information which has to be passed on to the respective sensor network which has operated. Now the question is, do we really have sensor networks in our real life? Yes, we have. For instance, this sensor network could be a cabs of Uber cabs in a particular area. This could be Uber cabs in another particular area. This could be Uber cabs in one particular area. So the updating will be done from this side about what are the cabs available here. It's a different matter whether they show it to us or not. The apps which are running from Uber and the other one, Ola, and many others, they really don't show us the true picture. They show us a picture which shows lots of cabs. Later on, they show that searching for a cab. So we are not talking about artificial intelligence there because there some other parameter comes into picture. I am keeping it simple for now and assuming that all the vehicles here will be available here, or what is the status of the vehicle, whether they are occupied or not. All will be updated on the cloud, and the interaction can take place on the cloud between, after referring with a main server, which is operating for the respective aggregator. This is aggregating all the information. Aggregating means whatever is going to be in the network of sensors, that is going to be used here. All right, so let's go to the next one. Next one is going to need annotation. So here, now why did I keep this here? For instance, I have kept this here because I wanted to show cars. This is one car, this is another car. I hope I can use my PPT animation. Can I? I don't know. All right.
Yes.
So,
yes.
So here I have got a car, and this is the traffic. This is the road. So cars are going in that road. Now this particular car, usually we don't have much in our cars, but what we do is, I have in my car a Geo-Fi router, which is interacting with my display at the back to indicate what messages I have to pass on. So similarly, there is something called a onboard computer interface. That's called OBD, onboard device. So every car which has been made after 2004 has an OBD. So the OBD can be connected to a interface, and that interface could be for a Bluetooth or it could be for a Wi-Fi. There is no possibility for a Wi-Fi here because you don't know who is the other vehicle and security issues. So what is done is, we have a Bluetooth here, and this Bluetooth will have a MAC address. MAC address is supposed to be the machine's, the interface's unique address. So this will be radiated all around. Same thing with this vehicle radiating here, this vehicle will radiate. So all these vehicles will know that who is there in the proximity, just like we have when we go into a cinema hall and we open our mobile and see our Bluetooth, we'll find a dozen connections and some of them would like to get connected with us. We don't connect to them because we don't know them. So we are aware. So this car is aware that there is a car here which has got a Bluetooth MAC address. Now, there is a particular requirement, cloud B and cloud A and cloud C. These are three clouds. Now, cloud B is a cloud for B type of cars. So let us assume that this black car is a B type of car. So this car, where is it located is what the cloud B wants to know. So what it will do, it will send to cloud A and cloud B the MAC address of the device. So these clouds, this cloud will be probably updated by the red one. The black ones will be updating here. There will be another car here which updates cloud C with its location and its Bluetooth address. So now when the Bluetooth address which is in search has been given by cloud B to cloud A and cloud C, they will check up whether their devices, cloud A is connected with this device, it will check up whether any device close to it has the same address as what cloud B wanted. If that particular address matches, then the location of the device which cloud A is associated will know, so that will be transferred back to cloud B. This particular thing is called crowd sensing. That means just like crowdfunding, we have crowd sensing. So if you have something available, a Bluetooth device available, you will know what are the other Bluetooth devices around. So depending upon what are the other Bluetooth devices around, we can identify whether we are interested in connecting with that or not. And that's how the clouds will take care of. So this is how we have vehicle to vehicle communication and logging. Okay. So I go to the next one. In the next one, what we do is we have to now find out what is a mode. A mode, according to the definition, it is a small device which has a lot of capabilities, which could be smart and which could also be of an intellectual type. The difference between smart and intellectual is smart means replying to the querier in a manner in which appropriate to suit the querier, whereas intellect means acquiring the knowledge and using the knowledge to process it as it is. So these modes are intellectual in the sense they collect the information and pass it on to other devices. I've given you this the definition here, you can check it out. And here we have the devices. You can see as penny farthing, which is the size, and these are how the devices are made. Now, the smallest available is this, and some of them are airborne, and they are not available because they cause a lot of pollution hazards. So let's get down to understanding the insights of a mode. So modes, different kinds are there, and sometimes we have a OS, which is for real-time operating system, which is used for operating it. But usually these modes don't have that much of a space to work. So what I will do, I will get down to the mode and see the breakdown of it. So here we have a mode made by Berkeley. We know what this is. Here we have a microcontroller, which is of the type Atmel. And notice it is 150 kilohertz. Everybody, we are all interested in high-speed processors and high-speed operations. But if you do high-speed operations, the issue is we have to have a lot of power. High-speed devices consume a lot of current. And when they consume a lot of current, there will be a difficulty for the battery to maintain. So we got to use a lower frequency. And since the data is not very profuse and they all go in bursts, it should not be too long. And the power requirement is moderated to have 1% utility. So it works like that. Next, we have sensors. You have a humidity sensor and you have a pressure sensor for altimeter. I'm going to show you one demonstration of that. Then we have a temperature sensor for measuring the temperature. There can be two types of temperature sensors. One is going to be with the altimeter, and the other one is going to be with independently. Usually the temperature and humidity are measured together. This humidity here, which is the relative humidity, and the temperature, both are measured together. Then we have magnetometers which is not compulsory, which is not very essential, and we have an accelerometer. Most of the nodes here should know whether they are under pressure. Somebody is moving them or are they being displaced. So they will be able to sense whether there's any change in their parameters or they are having any disturbances. There should be a light sensor to measure whether there is light radiation available or not. Usually used in the case of solar radiation. Okay, so now let's get on to how they are connected. Now, one of the sensors which is usually available, and that is called the ESP8266, which is made by a company called Expressive. And the thing which all of us should be aware of is this is made by China. This is made by China, and then we should also try to make one such thing. So I'm interested in people who can think of manufacturing ICs. So this is how an access point is. So these access points are available. I used quite a number of these, and then these access points can become a station or they can become a router. So here we have the Wi-Fi clients, could be a computer here, and it could be a mobile, all of them going through a router, and the router will make sure we get to the internet. Now this router is the one which we have at home or any other place, and which can also be implemented by using devices which are available. Like I used GeoPhy, which is working pretty good. So whenever I go for demonstrations of this setups, I always carry my router because the router configurations will keep varying depending upon the organization we go through. So this is how we have a connection of nodes, and the node can be an access point or it could be a station. We can also make them into web servers. I will show an application of a web server too. So here we have the interesting, one other point which has to be taken into account is that if internet is not available through Wi-Fi, what are we going to do? There are things called LoRaN, long ranging, which is supposed to be what is done by many companies are arranging Wi-Fi hotspots all around the city, and those hotspots are connected to the routers. So the whatever device is available here can transmit to the internet. But what about the farmers? The biggest issue is with farmers. The issue is not with farmers. The issue is with the requirements of the farmers. What happens is, wherever the farm is, there may not be a wide range bands available for taking the wireless devices. So what is done is, we get down to another thing called narrowband IoT. Narrowband IoT means we are going to use alternative, not the Wi-Fi protocol or any other protocol which is used normally by the WANs. Here we will be using GSM protocol. So Wi-Fi WANs are limited, so as I mentioned earlier. So we use GSM. GSM is the one which is supposed to be connected to the internet, and we use that through the data plan. The coverage area is going to be pretty huge, and most of the people in the farming areas, they ensure that they have a connection. So that is why we should get into NB-IoT, and most IoT need to update and acquire action. So LTE, VoLTE, and 2G, 3G, and 4G services help us in doing this job. But the issue is GSM modems, which are used for this purpose, are to be programmed using only 80 commands. So one has to be very familiar with 80 commands. And another advantage is we have short messaging services which are provided through the data services. Next what we do is we see how industrial IoT comes into picture. I am giving you the broad picture. Now we are going to get on to the narrow one to see something. This particular thing is a broad picture again. And here we are talking about industrial IoT. Now, why am I stressing this point of industrial IoT here is because when I presented to the power systems people of ISKI, then there I had a little bit of work to do, and I found that there are a lot of industries which don't have this sophisticated internet devices connected to them. Most of the sugar industries, they don't have it, but they are very good. Why do we need industrial IoT? We need industrial IoT because the industry has a corporate work center somewhere in a prominent city in our country. So all the data from the remote area has to go there. That's what is called as ERP. So now what is to be done is, if an industry does not have this sort of an interface, a field level interface, we have to deploy devices here, which will directly connect to a wireless system here. So all these indicators, operator panels, all the remote IOs will be deployed so that they connect to the wireless system here. And one protocol, HTTP, is the one which connects everybody. Like human beings are connected by one protocol, which is the HTTP. All our laptops work with HTTP. So this particular industry, where you got lots of interfaces, like field bus, you got a Profibus, and then you got HART, lots of variety, all of them will converge into one interface, one protocol, which will be enabling the ERP to do the job of those legacy industries which don't have the modernized wireless structure. All right, so we go to the next one. So here I have a complete overview. I thought of giving it, but what I will do is I will just go to a case study. And here, before I go to a case study, Devaya, can I share my, yeah, I can share my screen. I'm already sharing my screen. I would like to go down to one of my websites. I will take you to one of my websites. And I'm taking you to my website not because I want to promote my website. It is just because I want to show you something which I have done there. And the website is crsharma.com. It's already coming, so here we go. So this is my website. So this is my logo. These are the things which I have: works gallery, publications, lecture, and I have a special page called IoT devices at my residency. And I will like to show you that first. So before I show you that, be aware that I'll be showing you the insides of my house. So here we have my house. This is a picture. It's not a video, live video. And in fact, this is not an IoT device here. This device is my grandson. So I took a picture of this because I wanted to show all my sensors which I have got incorporated here. So the number one sensor which I have incorporated is a humidity and temperature sensor. So what I do with this humidity and temperature sensor is the humidity and temperature in this room. This is my room 103, and here the humidity and temperature are noted. Also, I have a environmental measurement device here, which is called, which is meant for finding out the pressure and altitude. The meaning of altitude is not much here, but what is important is pressure. In fact, since the past 2 days, the pressure in atmospheric pressure was below 940. The HPA, HPA stands for hectopascal, and 1013 hectopascal is supposed to be 1 atmosphere. So this particular device does humidity, temperature, and measurement of the atmospheric pressure and altitude from that. Then I have a message center here. This message center has got a video here, but I don't use that video part of it, but I have cannibalized a lot of things from this and made it into operating onto a web server which I have in my house. Next, I have a voltage and current measurement of the power in my house. And that is this is the device which was actually a doorbell. So I removed the doorbell, and in the doorbell I put sensors using Hall effect, which are measuring the voltage and the current one. In case I want to know the power factor, I just see the instantaneous voltage and instantaneous current. Then I will know what the power factor is. And this is cabled to the my main MCB board. So this is one thing. Next, we come down to another device here. This device has got an RFID sensor. This RFID sensor is in the low 100 kilohertz range. Then I have a knock sensor. Anybody who comes and knocks at this door, the sensor will understand. And I also attributed in this knock sensor a type of knock, like knock, 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 knock. If anybody does that, then I will know who has come. But anyway, that is not important. What is important is I have a doorbell outside this room. Outside this door, there is a doorbell, and that doorbell also is connected here to this device. Whenever the doorbell is pressed, this device, which has got a microcontroller, same ESP8266, will send a message to my router, which is right behind me. If I'm looking into this, behind me is my router. Okay, so I have told you all the devices which are there here. So now I can go down. So now this is house, and here I have the device which I'm using. I'm demonstrating this to you, to all of you, because I want to show you that it's not rocket science. It is a rocket science if you think you can't do it. If you think you can do it, it's not rocket science. So it is not rocket science. So I'm using this device, and here I have the humidity and temperature sensor. Here also I have the barometric pressure and altitude sensor plus temperature. Because such devices always have a temperature along with them. Then here I have a intensity. So it's a simple LDR which is connected to the analog input here, and that I didn't box it because I wanted to show what is there in it. The one which I've installed is already soldered properly. It's not on a breadboard, because breadboards you are not sure whether they will work whenever you want them to work. So this is the device which is sensing data, and this is where the data is getting updated. So here I have the temperature updated. Now the time is 12 hours and 14 minutes, and the temperature is 29 degrees. I don't know why it is so hot. It's probably the topic is hot, and I'm also very hot because I'm talking incessantly. Then the humidity here is varying between 43, and now it has gone up to 54, but it's stabilizing back. Probably somebody would have walked by the side of that sensor, and variation would have come. Now I have the illumination in my residency. So the time is mentioned here. You can see the time and the illumination. You can see the update has taken place here. All the updates are taking place automatically, and I have made this website refresh itself page by page every time. So this is that 12 hours and 15 minutes, and now another data has come here. So you can see illumination is almost varying between 120 and 140. Probably it could be a curtain which is flashing around. Then atmospheric pressure. You see the atmospheric pressure is 946. From what I see here, there will be rain today, quite a lot of rain, because lower the pressure, we'll have a possibility of a rain or a precipitation, as they call it. We should have 1000 is the value. So as the day is progressing, you see the value has come down. This is from my residency. Next, I have altitude. This is the altitude. As you know very well, it is already fixed in a position, and the altitude does not make any sense. This altitude is based on the pressure measurement, the atmospheric pressure. So as you can see, the atmospheric pressure has come down, and you can see the altitude has gone up because they are inversely proportional work together. Next, I have disabled these sensors because it involves a lot of data which confuses us. So I have a main door sensor to find out when the door was opened and the security purposes. I have a water flow from in the kitchen, how much of water has been consumed. I have the sensor there. I have disabled it because it keeps on varying and I don't have a control over it. And this is a water closet. Actually, a water closet means a toilet, or it could mean a restroom, or it could mean a whatever. So that is where we have the water, so the flow of water. This all I have done because I wanted my apartment to have an apartment cloud where water consumption, occupancy, etc. are known, and advice can be given if consumption is very high. So this is what I have done in my home, and for your I will just put it here for a second and show you the humidity variation, and I will ask somebody to puff. Somebody can puff on, but whatever it is, don't bother. Here you have the term, if somebody has asked them to puff, they have gone up, the humidity has gone up. Temperature has remained same because temperature will not rise. Usually, combination of humidity and temperature is called a field well factor. We use as a field well factor, which you see in various places. So this is what I have updated in my website, and these are the locations. Somewhere behind this, I have my Raspberry Pi, which collects data from these devices. The messages are sent regularly from here. Whenever there is an event occurring at this point, a message will go, and the message will be deciphered by the Raspberry Pi, and an alarm will be produced. I don't have much time to show you all that also because it is pretty intricate. Many of my friends who want to come to my house to see this, they come, but they get carried away with something else, and we don't come see anything of this. So this is the story. Here I have the toilet water consumption, and my kitchen is somewhere in between here. So this is the my website update. Now let us have a look at another thing which I would like to show you. The other thing I would like to show you is how do I get this rotation out? No, I'll have to go down. I'll have to go down post. So here, this is Zoom, ESP, yeah. So this is where the data is coming. This is thingspeak.com. So whatever data I'm acquiring, I'm updating in the cloud because I don't want to have a cloud of my own. And this particular cloud data is what you're seeing in my website. See, this is a time at 12/19/21. So let us see now. My data here for humidity is going to be 12/19. Yeah, it was done. So this was at 12/19/21, 12/19/38. So that is the cloud which I'm using, which I mentioned here. Where is it? This is the cloud. That is thingspeak.com. So here I have a lot of things. And before I close, I'm not closing right now, but before I close, I would like to show you the beauty of making APIs. All right, so this part is done. Now let's have a look at one of my, the website for this web server. So the web server I've created for this is in my router itself now. So 192.168.208 is the web server. So I'm going to run it, and we should get our display of SPI device. What I have done, temperature measured by the sensor there, illumination is displayed here. Excuse me, could somebody please obstruct the illumination sensor? Okay, do that please. So I have illumination sensor is obstructed now. So we should have a change in illumination. So illumination, they have already blocked it. So that is the illumination. Now they have unblocked it. It should go up. There's an auto refresh. So why I'm showing you this is, here we need, now the illumination has gone up. What we need to do is we got to understand HTTP protocol. We got to understand how we can write our own web server. So it is very important that an IoT device should be able to display what it wants to display. All right, so next what we do is, where are we? I have to go to my presentation. Where's my presentation? Just one, this is, I enter, just one moment please. Devaya, could you please inform me when I'm overshooting?
Yes, sir. Okay, okay, sir. Okay, done, sir.
So now, whenever you work with these devices, you got to understand 80 commands. That is, these are the commands which are given for operating it. So next thing is you should be able to work with Python, because Python, even though it's an interpreter and it's slower, the advantage is that it is understood very well and it's interpreted language, and you can run it, execute the code line by line, just like what we used to do in 1968, in 1970s, when we were using BASIC and doing the programming. So MicroPython has also been developed for working with this micro devices. It is 100% Python compatible. You can do HTTP and MQTT. MQTT is called Message Queuing Telemetry Transport. Now this particular protocol was developed in the year, this particular protocol was developed in early 2000, and it was developed by IBM. They were using it for their small devices in their SDLC network. But later on, one of the favorite, social websites which all of us use, most of us use, called Facebook, started using MQTT. MQTT is though it's called message queuing, telemetry transport, it has a basic principle of publish, subscribe. So there will be a publisher, there will be a subscribers or mini subscriber. So like Deccan Chronicle is published by Deccan Chronicle Holdings. But if I subscribe to Deccan Chronicle, whenever they publish, I will get through the agent. The agent is supposed to be the broker. So the agent will deliver the Deccan Chronicle which has been published. So MQTT has a publisher who will publish to a broker. And the broker, subscribers who have subscribed to the broker will get the subscription of whatever has been published and if they have subscribed. So here, because of MicroPython, doing these jobs are pretty easy. If you do it with HTTP protocol or AT commands, it is very involved. So next thing is, we can also do socket programming where you can have a website developed which will going to be a web server, which needs a lot of web socketing. C and C++ is another thing which we have to very much use. If you don't want to use any of this, then you can go for already available devices called Node-RED, and there is another one called Blinky or something, which are supposed to be helpful devices which will make you go by graphics. So these are the AT commands actually. Whenever you use these AT commands, they are attention commands. So you can give these attention commands and access your web servers. I've got an example here. I could have shown it, but it takes a little time to demonstrate all this. So these are the commands which have to be used, and they are done serially for the radio modem. All right. So here we have inter-device communications. Again, what I mentioned of HTTP, MQTT protocols, plus all this, we'll get into inter-device communication. And next, come on, dear. Yeah. So this is the MQTT broker. So this is the broker. A sensor here publishes data, and client. These are the clients who have subscribed. So whenever this publish takes place, the broker will send the published data to the subscribers. So this way, what's happening is, just like we have got Facebook, we have got friends. You select your friends, and whenever a friend updates, publishes something or posts something on the page, we all get a message that so-and-so has posted, Namasiva has posted, so-and-so has posted. So this is what Facebook has used, and it's a very, I also use it with using my Raspberry Pi. So this is how the communication takes place. So I think the need of the hour is how we should go about. And before I go to that, I would like to show you one device which I made. And just like Murphy's Law, I hope you all know what Murphy's Law is. Murphy's Law is things will work when nobody is bothered, but things will get into trouble when you are demonstrating it to people. So what I will do, I will hope that my device, which is located at this address, 236, I'll just go and switch on the device, and that device is being switched on now. This is the last item I will show because we are running short of, and this is the device. I have put the device down here. It's not coming, it will come, not to worry. Murphy's Law always works, and the fortune favors the brave. So when you work with live stuff, then you got to be pretty good with, have confidence in what you're doing. Well, it hasn't come up. If it has come up, I will again restart it, because it usually happens that when people are watching, things will try not to work. So let us see whether it will perform now. All right, here goes. Come on, baby. Now, when we get into trouble like this, what we got to do is, we got to find out whether our router is accepting it or not. Router will accept it because I have tested it. It's not sufficient. Testing is not just sufficient. Sometimes they misbehave, or maybe I am connected to another another network which this fellow is not connected to. Let me see. Yes, I'm connected to a different network. This doesn't go for
Sir, please share this presentation, sir. Hello.
శర్మ గారు మ్యూట్ అయిపోయింది సార్ మీ స్పీకర్. మైక్రోఫోన్ అన్మ్యూట్ చేయండి. శర్మ గారు అన్మ్యూట్ చేయండి మీ మైక్రోఫోన్.
అన్మ్యూట్ చేసా. Just give me a minute.
Okay.
Right, sir. Right.
This is actually, it will be interesting to watch. Yeah, there it is. This is the device. I will show you this device in the mirror. Can you see the device in the mirror? This is the device.
Yes, sir. Yes.
So that is the device on the mirror, and I'm putting it on the floor. I'm putting it on the floor, and can you see my screen? You can see me sitting down here, right? And I'm asking it to go forward. It is moving forward. Then I make it ask it to go back, and I'll ask it to turn right. I'll ask it to go into a room where there is no light. So I'll ask it to go forward. So when I ask it to go forward, it's going into that room. I think it's going to hit a wall. So I'll make it turn left a little left, and ask it to enter. Now it's also going to hit the wall, so a little left. Now it is facing the door, and as you can see, it is dark. And I will take you under a bed. I'll take you under a bed, forward. We are almost under a bed, but you can't see anything. So how will you manage? Put on the light. So light is on. So here I have the light on. So I make it move forward. Forward, it has probably hit something. I'll ask it to go back, come back. It is coming back. I ask it to go right. So it turns back and comes into my room, forward, and forward again. I think it's got stuck somewhere. So left. So if I want to switch off the light, I obviously can go down and switch off. The thing why I'm showing you this is, the reason why I'm showing you this is not because nobody can do it. This particular thing is going to be under control of somebody who is making an observation. And especially when this particular thing has been taken by one of my clients who uses it for finding out people whether they are wearing mask or not, and then speak out. So while speaking out is done through MQTT. So it sends to a Raspberry Pi. Raspberry Pi will respond with saying, please put on the, what do you call that, mask. So usually what happens is, we normally don't put on a mask. In order to make people do their job, we have to have an electronic conscience. So this is the purpose of Internet of Things. to have an electronic conscience. So back to my presentation. I hope I have not exceeded the time allocated. And have I exceeded the time allocated? Okay, we'll know that in a minute. Are we on time?
Yes,
Am
sir,
I sharing?
Yes, yes. Yes, sir, we are in time.
So I don't know where I kept that. We are actually, I've already expressed the need of the hour by words. And now, please tell me if there are any questions and which need to be answered. I'm here. Shoot.
The floor is open for 10 minutes for question and answer section. Please limit your questions 10 minutes. Anybody having any questions, raise your hand in the chat box. Then we will unmute their particular mic.
Akshara. How do I get
Devraj, please unmute those who are raised their hand in chat box, one by one in serial order.
Okay, sir.
Namaskar, sir. I'm stopping the sharing of the screen. Should I?
Okay,
yes,
yes, yes, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, dear. Is it Akshara?
Yes, sir.
Please introduce yourself before proceeding to a question.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Sir, this is Akshara from Vignan Institute of Technology and Management for Women.
Very good.
Sir, just now you have shown the demo of the vehicle which has moved with your voice instructions.
Yeah.
But it is not visible to us, sir. Once again, just we want to see the demo.
Yeah, what I would do is I will probably share a video of it because would you like me to repeat it, Namaste Garu?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Again, the issue is share the screen. But why is it that you would not have seen it? I mean, we'll just find out whether we can see it or not. Let us go down to my internet part of it. Where is it? Internet 192. So this is where it is. Let me bring it back. Bring it back. Are you able to see the screen?
Yes, sir.
So I will make it come back. I don't know where it is. Let me see where it is. Oh yeah, I saw it. I saw it. I'll get it back. So what we will do is make it move left. Put on the light. Put on the light. How the light? This is the so LED on. So now I know it is. I'll make it go back. Yeah, and I'll ask it to go forward. So it will come out and make it go left and a little right. And then ask it to go forward. It will come out now. It has come out. You can see me now in a minute. I'm on the left of it. Hey, where am I? Make it go back. Maybe it'll see me then. Maybe I can turn left. Yeah, there I am. Hello. Hi guys. How are you?
Exactly.
So now what I can do, I can make it go round. You can see my house. I can take it to my kitchen, but I hope they don't mind it. I'll make it go all the way. It's a little shaky because it is made using non-industrial components. If we use industrial components, we can do a much better job. And I usually have a lot of industrial approach, so I can make it go around my house. I can take it to. It's going. Hello, Jeff. Can some of you come here, please? Yeah. Bhavin, we are a combined family. So we have a group of people living here. Hello, anybody there? Please come. I need something to be shown. Hello. Nobody is there. Okay, I'll turn it around. Let it come to me. I'm there. So I'll ask you to come down to me. All right, here it is. So I make it come down to me. So it is now coming down to where my workstation is. You can see my workstation.
Yes, sir.
This is the story. Okay, dear. I
Thank you,
forgot.
sir.
Is it good enough?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. I'm stopping to share. Any other questions, please? Why? People who don't ask questions are nice people. Are there any questions, sir?
Second question, Balraju.
Yes, Balraj.
Mr. Devaraj, unmute Balraju mic and next Narasimhulu.
Okay, sir. Okay, done. Already they can unmute themselves, sir. Already options is open.
Hello.
Hello, Balraj. Hello, how
Yes,
are you?
sir. Yes, sir. Sir, good afternoon, sir.
Hello, I'm not able to hear you. Hello, Balraj, I'm not able to hear you.
Yeah, sir. His mic is, I think, getting disturbance. Sir.
Yes, sir. Hello, sir. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, dear.
Sir, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Balraj.
Am I audible, sir?
Yeah,
Yes,
you're
yes.
audible.
Right, right. Right, sir. I am working as assistant professor in MGIT, sir.
Very good.
Yeah, my doubt is I have a school-going kid, sir, 5th class, sir.
Oh, good.
So he'll be going by auto. So there, no mobile phones are allowed in the school. So how can I confirm that whether my son has reached the school or not? While coming also, I have faced a problem once.
Good.
So how can I track him if my kid is not using the mobile phone?
Excellent. Actually, one of my elderly brothers, who's about 85 years old, he has got Alzheimer's. He forgets. So one day he landed up at Toli Choki. And luckily people are there because internet in India is human beings. Human beings will be the internet for Indians. So he, when I saw that situation, I thought I will use a SIM 800 GSM modem and put a SIM card there and put it around his neck. So it is not, nobody knows it's a mobile. Let it be in the bag or let him put it as a watch. It is a very small piece and you can always access the internet through the data plan and you can find out the location. The location can be found out between what they call as AGPS, assisted GPS, assisted because of the tower positions. So you can use a SIM 800 GSM modem and put a microcontroller along with it, any microcontroller you like, because it's only going to use 80 commands serially and do the job. It can be solved without any problems and yours truly is always available for any consultations.
Right. Thank you. Thank you very much, sir.
I hope it was useful.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Devaraj, next unmute Narasimhulu. Microphone, please.
Okay, okay, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning,
Sharma sir.
Good morning, Narasimhulu garu.
Your session is very nice and informative and technically motivated session, sir. First of all,
please introduce yourself before asking.
My name is Narasimhulu. I am working as assistant professor in Sri Hindu College. Your session is technically motivated and encouraging, and you done a very good job, sir. And at the same time, I have a doubt that when you are using all these IoTs, due to this any radiation effect on the human beings, one thing. Second thing is how much cost it took, sir, and how much time it taken by the to implement all these things in your home. Please introduce.
Actually, there are lots more which I've implemented, but I have not shown it because of paucity of time. But each of these nodes cost you more than 300 rupees. Along with so the cost of these devices are not much. It is only what you put into it. The cost usually will be about 300 rupees for a humidity temperature measurement along with a microcontroller to have a Wi-Fi connection to your router. All right. So the issue occurs when you want to connect to the internet, in which case you have to go down and get some good DNS, DDNS, dedicated DNS services which do the job. Okay, Narasimha sir. Narasimha sir, it's not very costly. It is like going to a movie.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yeah.
Sir, is there any limited? Sir, this is Venu from Sri Hindu College of Engineering.
Okay.
Is there any limitation in number of nodes that we are connecting to IoT?
No. It all depends upon the capacity and what is the urgency required. I mean, some of them are going to keep on updating regularly. There will be a lot of congestion in the system. So what people do is they have a protocol where every 1 minute it wakes up and sends a message, sleeps for 1 minute. So power saving is done. So congestion usually does not come.
Okay. Yes.
Hello.
Any other?
Hello, sir. My name is Vishnu Teja. I'm working as an PLC programmer in Expert Technologies in Pune.
Expert Technologies.
Hi, in Pune.
Okay.
Hello.
Very good.
Sir,
yes.
you told me you have told in the middle of the section that if you are not familiar with C and C++, you suggested some website names. Can I know what are the websites?
Yeah, it's called Node-RED. One of them is Node-RED, which takes care of everything. Everything is GUI based. So you just pick out something and drop it. And one more thing which I forgot to mention, but I can mention now, is something called MIT App Inventor, which is very useful for making Android apps which are supposed to be linked up with these devices. So what I would suggest is you use Node-RED. It works very well with Raspberry Pi and also with many of the ESP devices.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, welcome, dear, welcome. Actually, my problem is that these devices may go out of market because we may not be buying from China. So let us think of making something in ICs in India. Anyway, next please, next.
Hello.
Next,
Hello.
yes sir.
Hello, sir.
Yes, sir. Yeah, you are audible, but your name is not known.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, please introduce yourself.
I'm Madhusudan.
Madhusudan, P. Madhusudan.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Very
sir, sir, I'm working in Doordarshan. Can you please suggest how we can use IoTs in electronic media? We have a VC.
Electronic?
Media.
Yeah. Probably spy cameras. The camera which I'm using in that mobile can be put in your pocket and you can go and talk to people.
No, these type of things we cannot do in our Doordarshan.
So what is the idea you have? What is that you have?
Yeah, we have cameras, we have a VCRs, we have some of the equipment. So these things we have to reduce our manpower. So how can we reduce?
Excellent. That's called broadcast management systems.
Yeah,
so in that you can have a server. You feed the server with the data and it will switch on the equipment which has to do the job. So that can be done using a very fair amount of a laptop and an internet-enabled device which will switch on and off the equipment and control the equipment. So you got to understand what are the remote control devices which are available. Interface those remote control devices to the laptop and program the laptop to do the service, the broadcast service.
Good, sir. I have some more doubts.
Yeah.
Actually, we are using already these servers and all these things. So
Yeah.
just we wanted to implement. How can we implement that protocols?
Actually, what happens is one of the best ways is to have a device which uses only messages. Instead of going for streaming services, have only messages. So if you want something to be switched on or to operate something, send a message. So you don't need to really have a server for it. So if you have an internet device which is connected to your remote device, remote controller, used for that particular server of whatever the multimedia server is, then you send the message to the remote control device. That will do the needed output. Anything further, you can always mail me. My mail ID is myself@myself.com. It's crsharma@crsharma.com.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Welcome, Susan Rao.
Can I speak, sir, if nobody is there? Congratulations, CR Sharma ji. Your presentation was excellent and it was not less than rocket science. You said if you think it is a rocket science, we cannot do, but it was not less than rocket science. Any science you take, all these sensors, whatever you have presented, because I have worked with the missiles, there I know we also use this pressure sensors, temperature sensors, flow meters, flow controllers, all these things will be there on board.
Very good.
So after seeing your presentation, I felt this today's topic not only hot, but it is the need of the hour today. Because in the cities, most of the families are staying in apartments and they are nuclear families. Many times what happens, wife and husband both will be working and they will leave the tap open and go because water was not there. So how do we, entire apartment will suffer.
Absolutely.
We should have a mechanism to stop that water flow. At the same time, if something happens, you have kept something on a gas and left the house, and that we can stop. I am seeing there is an excellent potential for this product. This product should be developed and taken into some good shape where it can be marketed.
Exactly. Actually,
you have done it as a hobby and proved, and you have shown it practically. Not only you have presented, you have shown the practically how it works. I am seeing a lot of good potential for this product.
Thank you very much. Actually, I want my apartment, Annapurna Residency, all the 30 flats to be connected. Everybody should know what is the water consumption they're doing. So if there are more than 2 people saying if they're consuming too much water, they will get SMSs. So it will be good. It's a very good system.
It should be expanded, sir. It should be expanded to entire city.
Yeah. Scalable and changeable.
Yes, yes. Nice, sir. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you, Sangamkar, sir.
Can we unmute Ashok Kumar?
Yes, sir.
Last
yes, sir.
3 persons.
This is Dr. M. Lakshmi Narayana.
Hi, namaste, sir.
Namaste, namaste. Excellent, excellent talk.
Thank you.
It's not a question or query. It's only a suggestion.
Yeah.
It's such a huge talent, right from the office bearer of IETE. This should be, offered for the academic or students community or, faculty academics from IETE. This is a suggestion to office bearers. You yourself are an office bearer with so much of, strength and, this should be, distributed, or this should be inculcated or passed on to those who are interested in this particular one. Let us support this. This is only my suggestion to office bearers of IETE.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. 1 minute, sir. Namaste, sir. Thank you, Dr. M. Lakshman Garu. We are already planning all this. In fact, we have a lot of space in our IETE. Maybe we can think of making a maker space, or what they call as collaborative workspace. So people can work there and our expertise will be always available, just like what they have in many places in Bangalore and in Mumbai. Maker place, as they call this. So second thing is we are thinking of conducting workshops in this area as a skill. And this skill we need is how to work with the electronic devices and how to program the electronic devices. So stress is on interfacing and coding. So we'll shortly come out with courses which will run in spite of the social distancing. We are not getting internet distancing yet, so we can work out that way. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. One more suggestion, Dr. Sharma Garu.
Yes,
See,
sir.
IEEE is doing some standards, IoT standardization, some 1849, I don't remember exactly.
Yeah.
That MJCET, we have kept it. And one
Yeah.
more slot is available. You are very much aware of the part of that one. Since IETE premises can also be considered to have such a standardization cell there.
Excellent. Excellent. Sir,
A lot
Chairman
of
and Secretary
premises is available.
Yeah.
A lot of premises is available.
Yes.
I think this. I think with this particular potential, with your help, we can take it up.
So one more thing is, if you remember very well, last year I was the chairman of the special interest group of IoT in IEEE Hyderabad section.
I know, that is the reason I am telling this.
And Gopal Krishna sir also have interacted about the standards of IEEE IoT standards. And your concept of making IECET just like what MJCET was is a wonderful thing. And I really wish we can go. I hope we will be going with it. Thank you,
Yes, this
sir.
was initiated during my tenure, 2016-17.
Oh, great. That's lovely.
Right.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you.
Thank
Good.
you.
Good. Excellent.
Hello.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Hello.
Yes, please. Monty.
Sir, hello, sir. So my name is Manikanta. I'm from CBIT, sir, electrical engineering graduate.
Very good.
So, sir, actually, we are a group of 5 friends. Like we, out of our interest, started working on IoT and things, right from our second year itself.
Very good.
So, starting with what do we call Arduino, and then we came to Raspberry Pi, and then on Node MCU and on ESP8266 boards and all.
Good.
So, sir, what bothered me was the security of these IoT devices, sir.
Yeah.
So, could you give any
tell me.
suggestions, sir, for improving this?
Actually, there are if you are going to get to the internet, then you can always get a secure socket layer, and they are available through various providers of the web hosting providers. They can provide it, and you can have your own web server which will take care of all this with the required security. Now the question is that particular bed which I was talking about. If somebody gets angry on me, one of my people who are working in that group, and they turn on the heaters in the bed, then all the people, old people will get damaged. So what happens is, internally, there should be a way of protecting in the wireless sensor network. Then what you got to do is, you got to use your own proprietary security protocol. You can probably read Bruce Adams and William Stallings, Network Security and Cryptography will have a lot of algorithms which can be incorporated in such local areas. But if you're going to get into the internet, the best thing is to interact with the socket, secure socket layer, which will be helped by the service provider. Okay?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Manikanta.
Sir, and personally, I felt your session was really fantabulous, sir. I loved it. Thing is, we'll actually love like all the engineers out there. Like we'll always love like being taught practically rather than just being on books.
Yeah, actually, that's how it should be. Thank you very much. So nice of you. You made my day.
Thanks a lot, sir. Thanks a lot.
Next, sir.
Is Gayatri and Ashok Kumar, you have any question? Only last 2 participants. Okay, sir. C.R. Sharma Garu. It is a very nice session, witnessed by all the participants by asking their lively, very good questions. And thank you so much for your knowledge sharing on IoT, and also along with the practical demonstration from your home, and which becomes a workshop. And I thank you so much. And I request our convener of knowledge sharing sessions, Gayatri, already given the chance. Please be brief within 30 seconds.
Yes, sir. Very small question, sir.
Please.
Sir, I would like to know how can we invite.
First, introduce yourself.
Sir, I am Gayatri, sir, an ex-student from IIT Hyderabad, and working as assistant professor in Vasavi College of Engineering, sir.
Good.
Sir, I have a small doubt, sir. How can we go for the security of IoT devices using machine learning, sir?
Actually, that machine learning is machine learning. Security is a layer on top of that. So what happens is whatever the machine has learned, we should make sure that it is not being misused. So for that purpose, again the same thing which I mentioned, you got to develop your own proprietary security algorithms if you're working in a local area network. Local means very personal area network, a small network. But if you're going to the internet, like I answered to the previous persons, you can always go for the provider of the web hosting for the secure socket layer. Right, Gayatri?
Okay, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Excellent session, sir.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you. I request our convener for this knowledge sharing sessions, Dr. K. Sitaram Babu Garu, to propose vote of thanks.
Sir, thank you very much, sir. I'm highly privileged, sir, not only a part of the EC member of the IET, but also the knowledge that he has, and he has dissipated such knowledge to the ISFs, to many life members of IET. Thank you very much, sir, for having given the time and shared your valuable knowledge with most of the IET members, sir. I also give my special thanks for RK Vyas for having been part of this webinar session. I also thank the chairman, the secretary, the treasurer for having conducting such webinar sessions for most of the ISFs and students at large of the IET. We also take a couple of suggestions, good suggestions that has come forth from M. Lakshmanan Garu, a senior member, and we take his opinion, moving forward with various activities of the IET. And as such, our treasurer, Sharma Garu, has come forth with suggestion that workshop to be conducted at IET. I would appreciate many of the students also be active participant. I think the sessions would commence, once the COVID died down, probably in the month of October or November, whenever it is. And I thank all the participants for having part of this. And I say the time for goodbye for this session. Again, let's meet the next week. Thank you very much.
Hello, thank you, Sitaramji. It was my pleasure to attend such a nice talk conducted by Hyderabad chapter of IET. It's my pleasure, and I have learned a lot of good things. And I hope you will be distributing this knowledge sharing sessions with all other centers of IET. Thank you very much. Nice looking to you all. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Very nice of you, sir. Thank you. Let's close the session, sir. Devraj.
Yeah.
I think time is up.
Feedback link and certificate link already given, and that should be valid only just 2 hours. Afterwards, there is no entertainment to send the feedback link to anyone. Please kindly note and fill your feedback link to get your certificate. Kindly don't ask again after 2 hours, please.
Right, sir. Right. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Bye, Sharma, sir. Nice session, sir. Excellent.
Thank you, everybody. For every regular webinar sessions, please visit iethyd.org website. Frequently, we'll update all the webinar information on the website. Please visit our website iethyd.org for the membership and all other details. I request everyone take the membership in IET Hyderabad. And during this pandemic situation, the council is allowed to have 25% discount for the IET membership, and which is available very less time. Please try to utilize this opportunity. All of you, please.
Sir, Narasimha sir, can I speak, sir?
Yeah, please.
Narasimha. మెంబర్షిప్ ఫీ పేమెంట్ లో సార్ ఆన్లైన్ ఉంటే బాగుండేది సార్, ప్రతి దానికి మనము ఆఫ్లైన్ వెళ్ళాల్సి వస్తుంది.
ఉంది సార్ ఆన్లైన్ ఉంది. If any doubt is there, please share me. I will guide you how to take the membership. Everything is online. Just only sit at home. You should have internet banking. That's all.
Okay, sir. Right. I will talk to you later, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, please.
Sir, thank you, Sharma sir. Wonderful session, sir. Thank you, Sharma sir.
Thank you very much.
So we're all leaving, sir. We are all leaving. Thank you.
Okay, sir.